Hello and welcome to today's CodeBook tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at user constraints. A little known feature inside of CodeBook is the User Constraints Manager. So we're going to take a look at this today and set some up. If we get into the Build and Settings and scroll down to the User Constraints option, we're going to look at the option for Define or Modify User Constraints to start off with, because we're going to want to create a few constraints. One of the first things it's going to ask us to do is enable editing. So it's going to ask us for our password. Hopefully this is something other than password. And we can see now that we already have a few user constraints set up. What we're going to do firstly is create an admin constraint so that we can enter into our dataset with a password and edit all of our information. So I'm going to click the option to add constraints, and I'm going to enter a code. I'm going to call mine admin1 and a description. Next, I want to select the option to set a password required to use a constraint. So we can't just open this constraint from the CodeBook Control Center. If we want to open the administrator constraint, we have to enter the password. I want to change that password from password to something else. I'm now going to view the constraint settings, and you can see here now we can define what we can and can't edit. Because we're dealing with administrator functions, in this constraint, I want to allow everything. If I had an external contractor, for instance, who wants to come in and make edits perhaps to the environmental information, what I could do is set a constraint specifically for the M&E and environment information and uncheck all of the other options. So when we open up CodeBook, everything would be grayed out apart from the information we wish to be able to edit. So I'm going to save this now, and I'm happy with that layout. I'm going to add a new constraint, and we're going to call this M&E. And I'm going to view the constraint settings. I'm going to set specifically for environmental and click Save. Now what we're going to do is move over to the Select Constraint to Use option, and we're going to click the option for Enable Editing, and now we're going to get CodeBook to actually prompt us on startup to select a constraint. We can do this for the RDC and ADC as well, but we're only really interested in the PRD, the Project Room Data Manager. So I'm going to close this now, and I'm going to refresh my project and open. Now we can see now we can't go straight into our data set. We have the option to select one of our constraints. So if I select my M&E constraint, you see we can't progress without a password. I'm going to enter the constraint password. And now if we go into the Project Explorer, we can see that everything's grayed out. So we can't make edits to the room values or the instance values. We can't make changes to the required or the designed equipment lists. But what we can do is we can change the environmental information. We can see the briefing, finishes and design issues are all set so that it can't be edited. But we can make edits to our environmental information. So this is a great way of constraining exactly what certain users can and can't do, and what certain parties can and can't do. If I come back out of this now and reopen the project, I can select my administrator constraints, re-enter my password for this specific constraint, select Project Explorer, and we can see now that everything is editable as it was previously. So it's a very short tutorial. We just wanted to cover the basics with this feature. If you have any questions, please contact the support desk at support@codebookinternational.com or Skype us at codebook.support.